Hey everybody, I wanted to hop on today to make a video and pay tribute to one of my favorite musicians of all time. If you have been watching my channel from the very beginning, you know how much I love blues, and in particular British blues, and also going a little deeper than that, one of my favorite artists ever is John Mayall. And about 20 minutes ago, I saw a post on Instagram of a family member that was informing everybody that John Mayall had passed away peacefully at home. He was dealing with some health issues, and he passed away at 90 at home. He lived a great long life, 90 years old, especially in that being in the music scene that he was. That is a great life. I got into John Mayall around the time I really started to collect vinyl heavily. And one of the first albums, and I didn't know what I was getting into, but one of the first albums, and this is a great entry point into the world of John Mayall that I picked up, was the Beano record. John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, of course, with Eric Clapton. This is one of the most influential and important albums out there, and I really knew nothing about Mayall when I picked this up, or really British blues. I had heard of Clapton before, but I didn't know much. And when I put this on the turntable and listened to this album for the first time, I had not heard anything like it. And maybe if you know this record, or you have kind of a connection to the Beano album, or maybe the Hard Road or something else, you kind of have that same experience. It's like the people in 66 that listened to this album for the first time. They'd never heard anything quite like it in the British blues, electric blues sphere. I was hooked, and this has easily become one of my favorite albums of all time. I talk so highly of this album. This is a comfort album for me. This is a desert island album for me, and I really, really love this, and what John brought to the blues and British blues scene. Basically bringing up these blues musicians like Clapton, like Peter Green, John McVie. I could go on and on and on. So definitely an influential guy, and this album extremely influential in its own right. Now I have a couple of copies of this album. I'm wearing the shirt. Obviously I have another one. I have Sunday's mono reissues, things like that. I saw him live for the first and only time back in 2019, and at the time, right, he was in his mid to late 80s, and I had made that decision that if I was going to see him live, that was the time to do it. And so I made sure, it was up in Milwaukee at Shank Hall, and I made sure to find a way to get up there and see the show, and I'm so glad that I did. I had second row, and I was able to look just right up on stage and see one of my musical heroes up there performing. He sang, he played the harmonica and the keyboards. If you know John Mayall, that's what he does. And he was just absolutely phenomenal. Even at 80-something, he looked and sounded great. And before the show, people were kind of filing in, and about half hour before the show, I'm kind of sitting in my seat and I'm looking around, and right in the back, at a table, sitting down at a table, was John Mayall. Now, I had heard stories about him signing things before the show, but I didn't, I had brought albums with me just in case, but you never really know what you're going to do in those moments until it actually happens, and you think, oh, that'd be really cool if that happens, but you don't know until it does. And I remember him sitting down, and only like a couple people went up to him. Like, we are at a sold-out John Mayall show, John Mayall sitting right there, and only a couple people really knew that he was back there. So again, me being me, right, I brought my two favorite John Mayall albums with me, and these are usually hanging up in this open space behind me. But I got my favorite album, by him, signed, which this was like a grail for me to get signed by John. And then another one of my favorite albums that he put out, and it's controversial whether Beano's better or Hard Road's better. I've heard people say both. I have a soft spot for Beano, but I love this record, and I love Peter Green, rest in peace as well, but Hard Road is fantastic, and I got this signed right up here. But not only that, because of John Mayall and his harmonica playing, I thought, how cool would it be to bring a blues band harmonica and get it signed by him? And he was so nice. You know, it happened so fast. I didn't want to bother him. There were people in line starting to line up behind me, and I didn't want to take up a lot of time. But he signed those albums, and I just said, you know, thank you for everything. You know, I love and admire you so much. And he was very, very gracious, very kind to me. Took a picture with me. And it's not going to show up that great, maybe on camera, but he did sign my harmonica. And this piece in general is one of my most prized possessions in my entire music room. He also released a book not too long ago, a couple of years ago. If you are really into music biographies, I highly recommend picking this up. You will learn so much from this book, not only about John, but just the music scenes, not only in England, but also Laurel Canyon. And he has some great pieces of information in here. So Blues from Laurel Canyon, My Life as a Bluesman, John Mayall. Pick this up if you haven't already. I really do love this book a lot. Godfather of British Blues, right? I pulled this. This was a 3 CD set that Grapefruit put out probably about a couple of years ago, also known as Cherry Red Records. They put this out a couple of years ago. And right, who's the first individual on top? This is called Crawling Up a Hill, A Journey Through the British Blues Boom. Who's the first man and band on top? John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. Who's the first band on disc 1, first song, With All Your Love? John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton. And then you have other great bands on here as well. This CD set is phenomenal, so if you love British blues, I highly recommend picking this up. But again, right, first guy on the front, first guy on disc 1 on the back. That shows how important John truly is. He has a large discography. I think he's released over 50, 60 albums. He stopped touring a couple of years ago at like 88. I mean, that man would not stop. The only thing stopping him was his health. He didn't stop for any other reason. He stopped because he literally had to. If it wasn't for that, I truly believe he would have kept playing until he died. So yeah, he's just one of my all-time favorites, a musical hero to me, and what an amazing life and legacy that he leaves behind. I want to kind of just share my record collection with you. I know I shared a Hard Road and my Beano records, but of course I have a lot more John Mayall. So we'll just kind of run through. Turning Point is great. And actually I have this signed. Now, I didn't personally get this signed from him, but I found this in a record store for $6 in New Orleans. And maybe someone just thought this was a scribbler or something, or just somebody's name, but I know John's signature when I see it, and that is a John Mayall authentic signature. So for $6, great. Turning Point, great live album. Another great live album by John Mayall. John Mayall Jazz Blues Fusion. I love this record. So good. Another one of my favorites goes back to this book title, John Mayall, Blues from Laurel Canyon. Great solo, John Mayall. Okay, he's also a great solo artist. It's not just the Blues Breakers. He's done other great things. This is John Mayall, The Blues Alone. Another great Blues Breakers record, Crusade. So good. So good, with Mick Taylor. Memories on that Polydor. You got Bottom Line. This is getting to later John Mayall. And I have a lot of John Mayall. I can't even imagine, like, especially with all the comps and things, I want to be a Mayall completist. I don't know if I ever will be. But yeah, later John Mayall, still fantastic. This was just put out by Music on Vinyl, Spinning Point. Okay, another great release. Road Dogs, later Blues Breakers album. This album kicks ass. It's so good. We got some compilations and stuff like that. We got bonus packs and 2-record discs and releases. We got down the line. We have, this one's also very, very popular in the sphere of John Mayall, USA Union. Great record. A lot of people brought this to get signed at the show that I went to. Got another one. Talk About That. This just came out a handful of years ago. Again, right, showcasing. He was still putting out new music up to the time that he had to stop. This is A Banquet in the Blues. Moving on. Great Live Mail. Looking Back. This is a compilation. There's 2 of them. There might be more than 2, but I have 2 here. This is The World of John Mayall and The World of John Mayall Volume 2. Volume 1 and Volume 2. So there you go. Padlock on the Blues with John Lee Hooker. We have John Mayall and Friends, Along for the Ride. I mean, just naming names here, right? Gary Moore, Peter Green, Mick Fleetwood, Mick Taylor, Billy Gibbons, Johnny Lang, Otis Rush. I mean, I could keep going with these names. John McVie. I mean, this is the connection and love that these artists had for this man. So important. Empty Rooms. I have more. I keep going. I'm like starting a huge pile over here. Some live releases of the Blues Breakers. This one is 1967. Another live Blues Breakers. This one is the European Union, live in the UK and Germany. Fun kind of colored vinyl on the back. Okay, I love this title name of this album. John Mayall Plays John Mayall. I love that. John Mayall playing John Mayall. It doesn't get better than that. Lots of People, live at the Roxy. Another great album. We got a lot of people playing with us, right? Chicago Line, believe from the 80s. Very good 80s record. Back to the Roots, a very famous, very popular Mayall album. You will see this album a lot in the bins in the Mayall section. Great double LP. And then the last one that I have to show is Hardcore Package, and has a cool little hype sticker there. I can't remember the year. Oh, 1977 on this. I hopefully will do a deep dive into his discography at some point, but I did at least want to kind of share with you my Mayall record collection. I even have CDs back here. I didn't pull everything. I'm sure I'm missing a couple pieces of memorabilia and DVDs and CDs. I collect so much John Mayall, obviously, right? One of my favorite musicians of all time. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video. If you have not dug into John Mayall, I highly encourage you to kind of deep dive a little bit. Listen to some of his material tonight. Listen, if you have that Beano record, pull it and listen to it, or A Hard Road, or any of these. If you haven't listened to those albums before, now is a great night to do that, to celebrate the life and legacy of one of the most important men, in my opinion, in music. One of the most innovative individuals out there. So his mentorship and unwavering commitment to the blues definitely does not go unnoticed from me and so many others that love this man. His impact will definitely be felt for years to come. So that is all I have for this video. Let me know down below. Share some stories. I know some of you have some connections to Mayall and his music. I'd love to hear stories. When did you first hear about him? Did you go see him? Do you have any fun, anything that helps kind of celebrate the life and legacy of this man? Let me know down below. I would love to chat with all of you. Godfather of British blues, rest in peace, John Mayall. I love you, and I will see you all for my next video. Bye, guys.
Well, I'm sitting over here on Pirate Farm. Yeah, I'm sitting over here on Pirate Farm. Yeah, I'm sitting over here on Pirate Farm. Ain't never did no man no harm.